Um, ah, fuck. I've decided to start this series called Dear Diary, which will be exactly like how it sounds. It'll just be me telling a story or talking about a certain topic, almost like I had written it down in a diary. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've always been an artsy kid, drawing on napkins, getting excited whenever any art-related activity arose. However, it was only until I reached the ripe age of 12 that I decided to make my art my entire personality. And yes, I mean my entire personality. My artistic journey was not limited to school or home either. I drew everywhere. Everywhere. School, kitchen, the bathroom. There was not a day that went by without my hand finding a pencil and putting it to paper. I certainly did not want to hide it either. I began carrying this giant A3 sketchbook and the large crate filled with markers around. Like I wasn't getting picked on enough, I know. I could have written big fat loser across my forehead and it would have gotten the same message across. And if anyone was unsure I wasn't an artist, like the big fat sketchbook in case wasn't enough, I decided to openly and very publicly showcase my talent. Emphasis on the quotations. I purposely drew in public settings to attract attention, and oh Lord, my art was not good enough to be that proud of. There were many people who were nice enough to notice my desperate attempts for validation. Oh my god, you drew that? Heh, yeah. Around the same time I started my artistic journey, I also became a big fan of cartoons, anime, and video games, if you couldn't tell by my art style already. This sounds harmless, but it only made my art cringier, and increasingly more difficult to look at. It was like my own personal emo phase where I thought I was so dark and mysterious for making all my characters depressed. Heh. Yeah, wow, deep. I even became obsessed with drawing psychotic girls who had creepy smiles and knives in their hands. I don't know, okay? Nothing traumatic was even happening in my life at the time, so I can't even blame it on that. I was just a strange, cringe kid who thought being depressed was cool. Spoiler alert, as someone who now has depression, it is not. And the worst part about being obsessed with art is being simultaneously bad at it. I was so confident too, that I was the Picasso of my generation, which isn't exactly untrue when you compare my art to his. However, his was intentionally unique. Mine was unintentionally terrible. I had a horrible habit of drawing my characters with billboard foreheads, boxy frames, and tiny hands. Yes, a terrifying combination, I know. And since I had a hard time taking criticism whenever anyone called out my megamind abominations, I took it incredibly personally. Oh hey, nice drawing. Good dial down on the 5-head though. What did you just say? I even had the audacity to be upset years later when everyone only referred to me as that one art girl. Barely remembered my name, I was just that art girl. I will say it did hurt though when we would do activities in class like complimenting our peers to increase each other's self-confidence. We would often be asked to write a few nice things about our friends down on a piece of paper and hand it to them after we had finished. Aww, thank you. Wow. Thanks. Still can't blame them though, I did intentionally label myself as that one art kid. Naturally, I would also neglect my studies and instead draw whenever I had the chance. Mainly in maths, cause fuck that shit. One time I was drawing a very butchered, shirtless guy with no shame. I should have been ashamed. And I started to feel a presence behind me. I soon realized it was my teacher breathing over my shoulder. I don't think she knew how to react because instead of reprimanding me, she just continued teaching. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to respond to that either, miss. In conclusion, art is usually cringy no matter how you go about it. I mean, it's almost entirely based around putting your thoughts and emotions to paper, and we all know feelings are gross as fuck. Especially when you're a teenage girl who is convinced she is some mysterious artistic hottie when in actuality, she is just some mouth-breathing weirdo who gets off on drawing half-naked guys with 5 heads. Luckily, I have grown out of that phase, and you will too someday. See ya!